5 or T6 for change. Generally, I must say that the last 2 years, so those who were in Lednice and Jidluchovice, so I remember that last time the changes which we presented were quite revolutionary. With all the changes in the database, synchronization, various schools, and so on. Whereas the last 2 years were more evolution than revolution, let's say. I would say that many things have been improved, developed, stabilized. They've been also used practically in example projects and so on. So now, maybe it's bad or good, it depends on the point of view. We do not present revolution changes, but revolution changes and improvements. There are additions such as new tools which are automatically added to FieldMap installation, which are separate from FieldMap. You will get presentation separated in this. But I would say that mostly we were working on implementation projects, so various projects, and in relation to that, the part which has been mostly developed in the meantime is the scripting. So the scripting part, which is the space where we can develop new functionality, new additions. Now, at this moment, the scripting languages of over 800 various different functions, procedures, and tools. And then this scripting functionality, as a number of you is using scripting, of course, as a tool. So this has been developed quite significantly, and it's giving the possibility of even new types of projects and new fields of use of the field and so on. We also have been trying to improve documentation, especially after that revolutionary change last time. So there was quite a lot of work done on emails, online help, and again there is quite an advanced help for scripting. So this was also part of our work in the meantime. In technology, about technology, Peter will tell you more later about hardware. I mean, but generally, as you know, the fastest advance is taking place in computers. There are measurement devices remain the same, and there are the capacity screens, such as phones, which are operated, which is very handy. Some of the computers, or many of new field computers, have this feature, which has advantage of the fast operation, but also disadvantage because it cannot be that exact as a pen, as this pen. Some of the computers have both options and so on. But anyway, with more and more, let's say, computers which are finger operated, we also added some functionality to the FieldMap which supports that possibility, which means that with finger you must have a possibility of operate buttons, controls, edit boxes, and keyboards, virtual keyboards, I mean, more easily than they are larger. So there are possibilities which gives you there are options in FieldMap options which gives you possibility to expand buttons and fonts even. So you can have in pull-down list you have a larger space. So that leads everything to the possibility to operate safely and quickly the computer screen with finger. When it comes to mapping, especially mapping of real map, like forestry maps, forest management map, then of course the sharp pen is necessary because of the accuracy of plotting new lines. If you plot them on the screen, requires a sharp point, sharp tip of the pen. But for many projects such as inventories, where the mapping is done using measurement devices, and attributing is done in forms, then there the finger operation and finger operated computers might be an option and can be handled. So FieldMap is now more able to be used, to be operated by finger. We will show you this, of course, in practice, but generally you have possibility to adjust screen the way that there's large distances between individual elements, which should be chosen by finger. Minor thing, but for those who work with new computers, because the thing is that new computers which has capacity display, which are finger operated, are simply has nice displays and they are cheaper. When computers with pen operation or both, even this is optimum of course, then again they are more expensive. So depending on the type of the project, one can decide which type of computer, and from the side of FieldMap there are no limitations to those this capacity display integration. Another new thing rather important and very handy, and again, so everything is somehow tending to be connected with scripting. Yeah? And one of the things is that in addition to the basic devices, we have GPS, we have caliper, we have a rangefinder, compass, and going further. And so these are three main type of devices supported by FieldMap. Now we have a so-called unspecific device, which means that you can use very different devices and handle input of device in script. So there is an event. Event is called, let's say, I don't exactly know the name, but on information coming from device, and then you catch the information and you decode it, and you work with it as you wish. So barcode readers, various different devices, and so on. And also, which is important, is that you can catch the information from the device using this event, and this process is in the script right away, and pass the information to the database, to the place where you would like to have it. So we can also demonstrate it in the example later on. But this is very interesting, very useful. It is also very interesting. So as you know, we have various attributes such as diameter, height, measured length, and so on. But here you can basically store data from the device to whatever layer and whatever attribute type, or even not even to store, you just catch it, process, and store already the results. So it's somehow getting to the little bit larger level compared to the previous approach. But the previous approach is of course there as well. So we can have more devices supported. And one of the consequences and one of the uses is the one which was discussed, for instance, in Spain, and it was tested specifically for Spain. And you can, for instance, work with several electronic calipers in one computer in the forest. So you can have a team consisting of up to 3 people working with electronic calipers, and only one of them has a computer, and all the data is a long-range Bluetooth, which is both in electronic calipers, and the computers can be what Peter can tell you more about the distances and so on. Also, the measurement pole is camera which we handle. So electronic measurement, height measurement pole, which we were using, can be easily, and it is already handled by this approach of so-called unspecific devices. So you can use 1 or 2 or 3 in all of them altogether, and process information. So again, maybe not everybody find it useful, but in fact, it's general option, and any device which is sending information in ASCII code, but in any format, can benefit. User can benefit from such devices. Another very important new feature is that field map is now working with geodatabases. Generally speaking, field map, which still works with shape files. So GIS information, mapping information is used in ESRI shape files. Now has a possibility, an option to choose storage of data in geodatabase. And geodatabase now is really following standard general geodatabases using so-called well-known binary. So it's described as it's open GIS format basically. And now GIS information and GIS entity information is being stored right in the records of the databases in blob fields. So, example, lines. So you have a table of lines, of course, in the project field map. Each line, each record of the table is one line. And now there is also one field which is called FMGIS underscore line, and in that blob, using well-known binary format, is stored the geometry of the line. So it's database oriented. It's real geodatabase, and what is very important is that since it is using general OpenGIS format, you can directly use this geodatabase using other software. So Olga will demonstrate this evening how, for instance, you can directly open geodatabase of field map with QGIS, for instance, which is quite common freeware of GIS. But generally, any software which is supporting well-known binary format, GIS can directly use it. Another advantage is, I must say that we still, when you work with field map directly, it's still being extracted from the geodatabase to the shape files, and you work with shape files on the screen at the moment. But whenever you finish, you switch to other plot or to close field map, and it's stored automatically to geodatabase. This is because it's faster. This shape files, and also on a big window is supporting shape files very well with all symbols and so on. But all the information is stored in geodatabase. It is also related with synchronization. As you remember, last time we presented as a new feature synchronization and offline synchronization of data, full one with map. And when we switch to geodatabase, then it has a lot of consequences to synchronization. But because now the whole geometry or GIS part is being synchronized same way, exactly same way as any other attributes of the database. So having data in geodatabases, you can much more easily, much more fast and more reliable synchronized data. And I don't know how many of you has tried synchronization in the meantime, but I must say that in those projects where we work now, the synchronization, for Arnold and the others who don't know what the synchronization is, you will have a demonstration after dinner, but synchronization is that you say, okay, I have a project, you push the button, you create a server project. Server project can be somewhere else on the net. Usually, server project is an SQL database, for instance, and then you collect data into your field computer, just same way as now, but when you are back home with the internet connection, you push the button, and the bidirectional synchronization is coming, and your new data are synchronized with the data from the database in the central database. That means that if you have several teams, then the data can be easily directed at the same time in the backup. At the same time, the boss in the center can have access to the data, live data, and also changes and corrections, validation done in the central server is going back to the field teams. This is also the way how to update lookup lists, how to update project structure. We have now projects where we have 50 to 70 foresters which are working daily collecting data on management. I will tell you more about that. And then they can synchronize data every day or every week, and then then how the system works. So geodatabase is part of this. The synchronization, which means that, as I said, it's a better solution comparing the one which we had 2 years ago in previous version, where we synchronize shapefiles. And then there are minor things, let's say, but there are very many, just a few of them as an example. So position of trees, for instance, for those who use positioning from trees, where they're recovering inventory plots, when you come to the plot and you would like to re-establish center of the plot, positioning from trees. Then you just measure 2 trees and you get the center back. Yes, like that it's not marked. But then it's also magnetic declination in the business, because it's also important. And so here you have possibility to recover also magnetic declination in the procedure, and it's stored because now as via synchronization. So it's also very important, and especially in this quantitative approach, it's improving work and quality of data. We have developed a new tool which we call FireWare Desktop. That's a typing mistake, sorry. FireWare Desktop. As you know, we suggested FireWare as one of the new databases supported in a new field map last 2 years ago. Main supported databases nowadays are FireWare, MS SQL, MS Access, FireWare in local and server version, MS SQL in local and server version. As you know, the base database of FieldMap for many years was Paradox. Very nice database, very fast, but of course it was already 10 years ago, it was outdated, I must say. So gradually, with some problems with losing data, there were some problems, but still, we remember Paradox is a very nice database, but it's not. It's still being supported by FieldMap. So if you can still open a FieldMap project with Paradox, but you cannot establish new project, we just prevent it simply. You might choose one of those more recent, more up-to-date databases, such as FireWare or Access or MS SQL. If required, technically, we could even support more databases, but so far,